Our final speaker is Betzaida Ramos. She is the Executive Director of MAVI, another speaker who came all the way from Puerto Rico this morning. Thank you for that, Betzaida. MAVI is the largest independent living center in the Caribbean. So she works day in and day out with people impacted by the lack of benefits and knows too well the stories of people in need. Betzaida.
Good morning, everyone. As Laura mentioned, I work at an independent living center that provides services to people with disabilities. In Puerto Rico, there are approximately 687,000 Puerto Ricans that have diverse disabilities. Our prevalence, as previous speaker have mentioned, is much greater than the prevalence of disabilities in the United States. In addition to having a higher rate of people with disabilities, Puerto Rico also has a higher poverty rate, with 44.5% versus the US's 26%. People with disabilities specifically have the highest poverty rate in the nation at 53.3%. This is more than double the poverty rate of the poorest state in the nation, which is Mississippi, with 19.6%. With regard to food benefits, Puerto Ricans residing on the island with a family of 4 receive less nutritional assistance than those that live on the mainland with the same number of family members. Specifically, in Puerto Rico, they would receive $410 a month, whereas in the States, they would receive $642 because Puerto Rico continues to receive its benefits under the Nutrition Assistance Program, or NAP, versus the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which is SNAP, and which is available on the mainland. The amount Puerto Ricans receive on the island are even less than what other U.S. territories receive under this nutritional assistance. For example, Guam, they receive $1,002 monthly. SSI is another safety net program that people with disabilities are denied on the island. Upon the inception of the SSI program, U.S. Congress chose not to apply this program to Puerto Rico and other territories. And instead, the territories receive their benefits under the Age, Blind, and Disabled, or the AABD program, which, unlike the SSI program, is not adjusted for inflation and has not seen an increase since 1996. Therefore, any person with disability that is currently residing in Puerto Rico receives only $75 a month under the AABD program, whereas if he or she were to move to the mainland, they could receive approximately $794 a month with SSI. Were the program extended to Puerto Rico, approximately 300,000 to 350,000 Puerto Ricans could benefit from this program, compared to only 34 to 38,000 Puerto Ricans that benefit from the AABD program because of its capped structure. This lack of medical, nutritional, and financial resources causes Puerto Ricans with disabilities to have lower standards of care, service, and overall quality of life. Studies have shown that increased medical funding is associated with a decrease in the prevalence of negative outcomes for people with disabilities. We are at a historic moment to improve the living conditions of people with disabilities and remediate the disparate treatment that Puerto Ricans are facing under federal programs and benefits. Let us help Ms. Ana Torres. She is a legally blind 56-year-old woman who lives in Caguas and has never been able to work because of her condition and lives under extreme poverty on the island. Her husband and her speak only Spanish and find it challenging to leave the island because they have no social supports on the mainland. So they must remain living in impoverished conditions in Puerto Rico. If they could ever migrate, they would leave behind family, friends, and supports that are vital to their well-being. However, if SSI were approved for Puerto Rico and other territories, they could improve their health, their income, without having to sacrifice their emotional well-being due to the lack of social supports. Puerto Ricans shouldn't have to choose between staying on their homeland with their families, with their culture, versus getting the food and health care they need to stay alive. Let us push, let us move forward with the inclusion of Puerto Ricans in the SSI program and other safety net programs that can ensure equal access to health and better quality of life. Thank you.